I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 8 years. We seemed solid for most of that time, married, comfortable, building a life together. We even bought our dream house last year, a big fixer-upper. We were finally turning into what we wanted. I thought nothing could shake us, but I was wrong. Lately, I'd started noticing weird things. Little things at first. Lisa coming home late more often than usual, trying to hide her phone, being secretive about her calls. She'd snap at me if I looked over her shoulder while she texted or called someone. I always thought she was just stressed or busy, so I didn't push too hard. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Then stuff started to get worse. Our schedules didn't match up anymore, and she started to get defensive when I asked where she was. I'd ask her to grab dinner or hang out, and she'd make excuses. I even caught her lying about small things like where she went after work. It was like she was trying to hide something. I told myself I was overthinking it, that maybe she just needed some space, but deep down I knew better. One night I decided to check the home security footage. I'd been hearing noises from the kitchen during the night, things I couldn't explain. At first I thought it was just animals or maybe someone sneaking around outside, but I was wrong. I set up the cameras to get a better idea of what was going on. I figured if she was sneaking around, I'd find proof on the footage. And I was right. That's when I saw it. On the footage, it was late at night, around 11:30 p.m., and Lisa was in the kitchen, laughing and flirting with our contractor, Jason. I'd hired him a few weeks back to help with some renovations we needed. I trusted him, he seemed professional, and Lisa seemed happy when he was around. But this night it was different. They weren't just talking about paint or tiles, they were touching, leaning into each other. I saw her hand slide up his arm, then her leaning in for a kiss. I couldn't believe it. My stomach dropped, and I felt a rush of anger, betrayal, and confusion all at once. I replayed the footage multiple times, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. She was cheating on me in our own house with a guy who was supposed to be working for us. How long had this been going on? Was I blind, or just too damn trusting? I was so stunned I didn't even know what to do at first. I felt sick, like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't want to believe it, but there it was, her kissing that guy, her betraying everything we built. I knew I had to confront her, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to face her face to face after watching her lie and cheat right under my nose. The worst part was the feeling of total helplessness. How do you handle something like that? How do you even start to process the betrayal of someone you loved? I sat there staring at the screen for a long time, trying to hold back the anger and tears. My mind was racing, thinking about everything I'd done for her, how I'd trusted her with my entire heart. And then I realized I could never unsee what I saw. That image was burned into my brain now. I knew I had to decide what to do next, but honestly I had no clue where to go from here. The next few days were a blur of confusion and rage. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that footage, that betrayal replaying over and over. I kept asking myself how I missed it, how I didn't see the signs earlier. Maybe I was blind, or maybe I just didn't want to see the truth. Whatever it was, I felt like I'd been sucker punched, and now I was just trying to breathe through the pain. I spent hours trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to confront Lisa immediately, to demand answers, to get this all over with. But I knew if I did that without a plan, I'd just end up losing my shit and making things worse. So I decided to gather more evidence, just in case I needed it. I set up more cameras around the house, especially near the kitchen and her phone. I wanted to catch her in the act again, or at least get more proof of her lies. I didn't trust her to tell me the truth anymore. Her entire story was falling apart. The day she left for work, I stayed home, heart pounding, feeling like I was walking a tightrope. I kept checking the footage, trying to stay calm, but every time I saw her with that guy, I felt a new wave of anger and heartbreak. I couldn't believe the woman I married had been sneaking around like a common cheat. It was like my whole world was crashing down around me, piece by piece. I wondered how many times she'd been with him, how long it's been going on, and what I did wrong. When she came home that evening, she looked annoyed, like I was bothering her about something. I was so pissed that I just blurted out, "Lisa, I saw what you did. I saw you kissing Jason in the kitchen last week." Her face twisted into this fake, bitchy smirk. She lied immediately, of course. That's not what it looked like, Mike. You're crazy. You're just jealous because I've been working late, that's all. I stared at her, trying to keep my cool, but inside I was boiling. Don't bullshit me, Lisa. I have the footage. I saw you. I saw how you look at him, how you touch him, how you kiss him. How long has this been going on? She rolled her eyes, scoffing. Oh, please, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Jason's just doing his job. Maybe you're just paranoid. I couldn't believe her. She had the nerve to lie to my face, to deny what was right there on the footage. That moment, I realized she thought she could just brush this off, like I was some idiot who wouldn't see through her bullshit. It hit me hard. You're fighting for your marriage, your family, your respect, and your wife's out there cheating on you, and she doesn't even care enough to be honest. The anger was boiling inside me now. I felt like I'd been slapped in the face 100 times. I wanted to shout, to break something, to make her feel just a fraction of the pain I was feeling. But instead, I kept my voice cold and measured. We're done pretending, Lisa. I saw enough. I want to know everything, the truth, or I swear I'll make sure everyone knows what you've been doing. She snorted and crossed her arms. You're overreacting. You're just upset because I'm tired of your controlling bullshit. That's when I realized she was never going to admit anything. She was good at lying, and she believed her own lies. I felt a wave of disgust and heartbreak that I can't really put into words. I had trusted her, loved her, and she was out there behind my back, laughing with that guy, cheating on me like I was nothing. I didn't know if I should be more angry at her or just broken. The whole foundation of our marriage felt shattered then and there. From that moment, I knew I had a choice. I could let it go and try to pretend it didn't happen, maybe hope she'd stop, maybe try to fix things. Or I could confront her head-on, demand answers, and decide what I was willing to accept or walk away from. Honestly, the rage and heartbreak were so strong I didn't even think about the latter too much. I just knew I couldn't stay in that house without doing something. The betrayal ran too deep, and I was sick of playing the fool. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't focus. My mind kept circling back to that footage, to her lies, to the sense of betrayal that felt like it was crushing me. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. Part of me wanted to just grab my things and walk out, leave her to deal with the mess she created. But a bigger part of me was furious. I wanted revenge, or at least some kind of justice for what she'd done. The next morning, I started plotting. I knew I couldn't just confront her again and expect to get honest answers. She'd just lie her way out of it again, and I'd be back to square one. So I thought about how I could turn this around. I needed leverage, proof she couldn't deny. I decided to dig deeper into her phone, her messages, her social accounts. Maybe I'd find something more, some confirmation that this was more than just a one-time slip-up. While she was at work, I slipped her phone out of her purse and started snooping. I stayed calm, trying not to let the anger boil over. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. Text messages, pictures, proof that she'd been sneaking around behind my back for weeks, maybe longer. There were photos of her and Jason, flirty texts, even some explicit messages. That confirmed what I already suspected. She'd been lying to my face the entire time, pretending to be exhausted from work while she was out messing around with him. I felt sick all over again. My stomach twisted and my chest ached. All those years I thought we had something real. I was so stupid to believe that. She was just a user, someone who cheated and lied and played me for a fool. I wanted to break something, scream at her, shake her until she told me the truth. But I kept my cool because I knew losing my temper wouldn't help. I had all I needed now, proof and a plan. When she came home that evening, I was waiting in the living room, her phone in my hand. She looked surprised, maybe even a little worried. I didn't say anything right away. I just handed her the phone. Look at this, I said calmly but coldly. All the texts, all the pictures. You've been lying to me, cheating on me with Jason. How long has this been going on? Her eyes widened and then she started to spin her usual bullshit. Mike, don't jump to conclusions. It's not what it looks like. We're just friends and I was stressed out, so I talked to him. It's not a big deal. I shook my head, feeling the anger boil over. Don't lie anymore, Lisa. I saw the messages. I saw how you flirted with him, how you kissed him that night in the kitchen. You think I'm stupid? She snorted, trying to act like she's above it all. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. It's just sex, Mike. You're so insecure. If you really cared, you'd be happy I found someone who makes me feel alive." That's when I lost it. It was like everything just exploded inside me. All the pain, all the betrayal came pouring out. "You think I don't care. You think I'm insecure. You've been cheating on me, lying to my face, and you call that sex. You're disgusting, Lisa. I trusted you, and you threw that trust in the trash for some quick fuck with Jason. I'm done, I swear. I don't even know who you are anymore." I felt tears welling up, but I pushed them away. I knew I had to stay strong for myself. I couldn't believe I was even having this conversation, yet here we were. Her reaction was cold and dismissive. "Look, Mike, I don't need your stupid accusations. Maybe I'll just leave then. I don't need your permission to be happy. You're controlling, and honestly, I don't even want to be married to someone so insecure." That was the moment I realized she was beyond reach. She didn't care about me, about us, or about what I felt. She was just looking out for herself as usual. I stood there, stunned, feeling like I'd been punched again. It was like watching the woman I loved turn into a stranger, someone so selfish, so manipulative. I knew then that I couldn't stay, not after she'd shown her true colors. I had to decide whether to fight for this marriage or walk away for good. The pain was overwhelming, but I knew one thing for sure. I was done being the fool. I deserved better. I had to get out of this nightmare. That night was one of the hardest of my life. After she stormed out, I just sat there in silence, staring at the wall, trying to process everything. Part of me wanted to call her, to yell, to beg her to stay and tell me it was all a mistake. But deep down, I knew that wasn't going to change anything. She'd betrayed me, lied to my face, and then dismissed me like I was nothing. I felt so empty, so broken, I didn't know what to do next. I kept replaying everything in my head, her sneaking around, the lies, the fake smiles, the fake sex. I was furious at her, but mostly I was just heartbroken. How could she do this? How could the woman I loved, the woman I built my entire life with, turn into a stranger? I wondered if I'd ever trust anyone again, if I'd ever feel the same about her, about anyone. The next day I woke up with a pounding headache and a terrible sense of dread. I knew I had to make a decision. Part of me wanted to pack my bags and leave, just disappear and start over somewhere new. But another part, the stubborn, hurt part, wanted to fight for what was ours, if there was anything left worth fighting for. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the mess of her things, trying to decide what to do. I knew I couldn't stay in that house with her anymore. It felt like a prison now, full of lies and betrayal. So I started planning my exit. I called a friend, told him I needed to talk, asked him to come over. I didn't want to be alone with her or risk her coming back and trying to manipulate me again. While I waited, I kept checking her phone, scanning her messages, looking for anything else I might have missed. But honestly, I didn't need more proof. The dam had broken for me already. I was just looking for confirmation that I was doing the right thing. And I knew I had to go. I couldn't stay in that house with the woman who had shattered my trust and my heart. When my friend arrived, I told him everything. I showed him the footage, the messages, the evidence I had collected. We talked about the best way to leave quietly to minimize the damage. I didn't want to cause a scene or make her angry enough to retaliate, at least not yet. I just wanted out to clear my head, to start fresh. That afternoon, I packed some essentials, took my time, trying not to let the tears fall. I thought about all the good times, the plans we made, the dreams we shared. And then I thought about her with that guy lying and cheating and pretending she was the victim. It made me sick. I promised myself I wouldn't let her ruin me. When I finally left the house, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I felt like I was escaping from a nightmare, but also like I was losing the woman I loved. I didn't look back. I just drove away, leaving that house and the betrayal behind me. I knew the road ahead would be long and painful, but I also knew I had no choice but to move on. Since then, I've spent countless hours reflecting on what happened. I keep asking myself if I could have done anything differently, if I should have fought harder, or if I was right to walk away. The truth is, I don't have a clean answer. All I know is I learned a hard lesson. Trust is fragile, and sometimes people aren't who we think they are. I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, even if I don't feel it right now. The pain still lingers, but I'm beginning to heal. Slowly, one day at a time. It's been a few months since I left her, and honestly, I'm still trying to put myself back together. Some days are better than others. The pain of betrayal doesn't just disappear overnight, and I've realized I'm not the type of guy who can just pretend it didn't happen. I keep replaying everything, trying to understand why it happened, how I missed all the signs, and what I could have done differently. But at the same time, I know dwelling on it doesn't help. I've had to force myself to accept that she chose to be with that guy instead of me, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Leaving the house was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. It felt like I was ripping out a part of myself, but I knew I had to do it to survive. I moved into a small apartment nearby, just enough space to breathe and try to find some clarity. I started hitting the gym, reconnecting with old friends, and trying to rebuild some semblance of normal life. But underneath all that, the hurt still lingers. I catch myself wondering if I'll ever fully trust anyone again, if I'll ever feel the same about love or marriage. One thing I've learned is that I don't know how I missed the signs for so long. She was so good at hiding her real self, at pretending everything was fine. I kept thinking maybe I was the problem, maybe I was too controlling or insecure. Turns out, I was just blind to the truth because I loved her too much. That's the biggest lesson I've taken away. Being in denial only makes everything worse in the long run. I've also come to realize some bitter truths about her. Lisa was never the woman I thought she was. She's manipulative, selfish, and deeply dishonest. And the thing that hurts the most is knowing she's moved on, probably already found someone new to replace me. I hear from mutual friends that she's dating someone else, and honestly, that stings. But part of me also feels a strange sense of relief. If she's capable of doing what she did, I don't want her back. I don't need that kind of toxicity in my life. I've started dating again, cautiously. Not because I'm looking for a new wife, but because I realize I need to reconnect with myself, with what makes me happy. I want to find someone who respects me, who's honest and caring, someone worth my time. It's scary putting yourself out there after all this, but I know I can't live in the past forever. Still, I keep asking myself if I'll ever truly get over her, or if she'll always be a part of my story, even if it's a painful part. This whole experience has changed me. I'm more cautious, more guarded, but also more aware of what I want and what I don't want. I've learned that trust is fragile, but it can also be rebuilt, just not with the right person. I've realized that standing up for myself is more important than ever, and I refuse to let anyone manipulate or betray me again. Looking back, I think I was naive to believe in forever, to trust blindly. But I also believe that I'll come out of this stronger. It's a long road ahead and I still have scars, but I'm moving forward one day at a time. And honestly, I don't regret leaving her. It hurt like hell, but I know it was the right choice. I deserve better. We all do. Now, looking back, I realize I've learned a few things I wouldn't have if all this hadn't happened. Trusting someone doesn't mean ignoring red flags or blind faith. It means being aware and honest with yourself about what's real and what's not. I got too comfortable, too trusting, and that made me vulnerable. But I also learned that if someone wants to betray that trust, no amount of love or effort can stop them. You can't control other people's choices, only your reaction to them. Leaving her was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the most necessary. I had to break free from the illusion of what I thought we were. I had to face the truth that she didn't value me enough to be honest, let alone faithful. It hurt, but it also woke me up. I became determined to rebuild my life on my own terms, to stop letting her define my happiness. I don't hold on to anger as much as I used to. I've accepted that some people are just broken or selfish, and I can't fix them. Instead, I focus on myself, my health, my goals, my future. I've started therapy, which helped me process the betrayal and rebuild my self-esteem. I've also learned that sometimes the best revenge is just moving on and being genuinely happy without someone who doesn't deserve me. Most days now, I feel a bit more at peace. Not because I've forgotten what happened, but because I see it as part of my journey, something I had to go through to learn how strong I am. I still get moments of sadness, and I won't pretend I don't. But those are smaller now, less overwhelming. I'm slowly finding my footing again, and I know I will be okay. So if anyone out there is going through something similar, feeling lost, betrayed, or just broken, I want you to know it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be angry, to cry, to hurt. But don't let it consume you. Take time to heal, learn from it, and then pick yourself back up. Life's too short to stay stuck in pain or resentment. Trust is fragile, but your happiness is. And in the end, choosing yourself is the most powerful thing you can do. I may never forget what happened, but I'll use it as a lesson, one that teaches me to value myself more, to be cautious, and to never ignore the red flags again. I'm not perfect, and I probably never will be, but I'm done being a victim. Now I'm just a man rebuilding his life, stronger and more aware than ever before. And honestly, that's all I can ask for.